Thanks a lot for joining us today. We've got 11 races on this Stars of Texas Day. Most of these races for Texas breds, a lot of really nice Texas bred races today, including a whole number of stakes a little bit later. Rick, let's get right on to the action. None of us is going to have as good a day as Bobby Bonilla, the former Major League Baseball player who gets his annual deferred payment today. It's over $1 million. He's going to get that until, I read until he's 72 years old. He's probably probably 50 now, you think? So
yes.
Another 20 years of $1 million payments every year.
Yep, not bad.
His deferred salary renews on July 1st, so people make or maybe it was yesterday, but anyway, people make a big deal about Bobby Bonilla Day.
Yeah.
He's having a better day than we are, no matter how many winners we pick.
Yeah, we have to do it through the windows if we want to make $1 million, because Lone Star Parks never offered me $1 million a year to work for them. So
right.
I got to do it through the windows.
Well, let's see if we can do something here. First race, Texas bred non-winners of 3 allowance runners go a mile. No show, no super wagering on the first race. Scratch the 5, Silver and Gold, the 6, Lil Sweet Thang, who was our top picks, the lone 3-year-old in here who looked to have this field kind of at his mercy, but he's out, and the 8 Texas Gold Rush also out.
Yeah, I scratched into the 4 Champagne Stupor. I'm hoping he's the reason they all scratched out of here. So, but
maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
2 of them were vet scratches. So.
Yeah, that's a few. But Champagne Stupor is now the top pick. I mean, he's kept really good company in recent races. The Wayne Hanks Memorial Stake, he's in there, runs 5th. He runs 5th in the Spirit of Texas. That was a $100,000 stake. The 2 starts back. At least he was in at a similar condition and caught a very strong field, finishing 4th there behind Chief Brady, Stan's home run. That was a really nice a state-bred allowance there. So I'm taking him back basically on talent. He's not proven around 2 turns. That's a little bit of a concern, but it's a short field. It looks like he might be just the best.
He might be. Races where your top pick scratches. I mean, I do take care to who do I take second. I never used to pay much attention to that. I just rank them kind of 1 through 4. Mm-hmm. Now I think every race, who do I want to scratch into? I didn't want to scratch into Champagne Stupor only because his form is fine. He could easily win, especially now that he's only got 4 opponents to beat. But I'm gonna try the 1 Conatlan. I've kind of liked this horse for a while. As a long shot look. Last time he made the lead going a mile on turf, gave it up late, but I think that was a much tougher field with the Tres Soles ready to roll and Color Fast, who came back to win. He's been so consistently overmatched. I just don't know if we really know how good this guy is. He's mainly been a turfer. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give him a shot in here. I didn't really care for anybody's form all that much, so you got a filly taking on the boys and Turn on the Bling. Didn't really care that much for her form. I mean, I don't know. It's just... Yeah,
then you add the 2 turns to the equation, and they're not really... Most of them are sprinters, so it's a mess in the first race.
It's a tough one, but, I'm going to try to beat the favorite, but that didn't work for me on Sunday. But we'll see what can happen here today. Second race, scratch the 1, Uptown Eagles Landed, and the 4, Bling Mountain. Race 2, Texas bred allowance at 5.5 furlongs. No conditions here. And, recently we had a sibling to Bobby Brinkley run in a 2-year-old race. I forget the name. But here Bobby Brinkley shows back up after campaigning in the winter at Turf Paradise, of all places.
Yeah, Bobby Brinkley worked great June 25th. You can see by the work there in the form, a half in 47-1. The turn time was excellent, and I was thinking, oh man, Bobby Brinkley though, he's been around a while. You always want to see that with like an unraced horse. If you're clocking horses in the morning, and ends up, he's in the Asmussen barn. He's been with Lucarelli for quite some time.
Yeah.
So
Lucarelli claimed him for this Chad and Josh ownership for like 62.5, one of the richest claims I've seen in my 8 seasons here. That was about 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's certainly capable. Based on that work, he might be ready to run one of the best races of his career, which is so far a 79 buyer figure, which won't get him close to Mr. Moneybags, but I did pick Bobby Brinkley third today, made him 8-1 just because the work was so good.
Yeah.
But, Mr. Moneybags, he's won 12 of 23 races on a fast track. He's won a bunch of stakes. Last year he won 2 of the 4 wins were in stake races. He came back after a layoff in March at Houston, beaten only a neck in the Spirit of Texas, a $100,000 stake. A really good work June 17th, 5/8 and 59-1. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah,
it'll be a little bit of a surprise.
earner work right there.
Yeah, big time. So, unless Chief Brady, bounces back and runs a huge one and Mr. Moneybags isn't quite right, it's hard to see him getting beat.
Yeah, I agree. I just think he's too fast for this bunch. I decided to keep it simple and use him on top here. I'm not sure he's maybe quite as good as he was when he was a 5 or 6 year old. And there was a big gap in his works from April 11th to June 3rd, but I think Jalen Clary, whose father used to train this horse, I think she knows how to handle him. So, and he's always run well. I mean, he's never really run a bad race. So I'm taking him over. Bling 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 is interesting to me. Absolutely loves this main track. And his race last time, I went back and rewatched it. That was the ultimate in glorified workout. I mean, Stuart Elliott did not ask him. He was so confident on him. He won that race so easily, I can't describe it. Now, will that prepare him to face Mr. Moneybags and Chief Brady? That remains to be seen, but that race, that win could not have been easier. That was truly a glorified work. On to race 3. 5 furlongs here, $5,000 claimers. These are horses that have never won 4 or non-winners of a race since March 1. Scratched the 1, 2, and 3 out of this race. And there's just nobody that really wants to finish in this race. I'm going for a Francisco Bravo Exacta. I don't know about you. Who do you end up with in this spot?
I don't remember who I picked second at the moment.
You end up with Just Chillin'. That's who I'm on.
Yeah, Just Chillin'. He's very quick. I mean, 5/8 of a mile is perfect for this 5-year-old. He's won 3 of 7 races at the distance. He is dropping down from $15,000. He ran all this spring and early winter at Will Rogers Downs. He was in really good form there.
Yeah, he loves the Will, that's for sure.
He does. He's run 3 times, worked 3 times here at Lone Star Park, and all 3 works, were rock solid, which you'd kind of expect from a horse as fast as he is. Buyer figures are best. Like I said, the big drop in class. I guess if you're going to have any concern at all is if the 10 play rule, who's very quick, beats him to the front because he doesn't pass horses. So Just Chillin', again, clearly the one to beat. But if he doesn't break alertly, he could be vulnerable to someone else.
Yeah, nobody really passes much of anybody in this race, it doesn't look like to me. By the way, it's all older horses. Yeah, I'm with Just Chillin' as well. I like the fig angle here. I mean, he's won 2 races at Will Rogers and 1 at Remington in his career. He is an Oklahoma bred. He has not been here before, but he loves the distance. There's a lot to like about him, and he's fast. So hopefully he'll get away well. I took him over Fire Extinguisher, the other Bravo. He's a Minnesota bred, and he can be a little bit quick as well. So I took him for second and went with the Bravo uncoupled Exacta. On to race 4 on this 11 race card on this Stars of Texas Day. Don't forget, tomorrow you can get in free with a can of Pepsi, or if you're 62 or older or a member of the military with ID. Monday and Tuesday are the Lone Stars and Stripes celebration days. Fireworks after the races, family fun activities, etc. 4th race to me was a tough call. Texas-bred fillies, optional claimers, non-winners of a race other than, or non-winners of 2, or you could be in for $15,000.
Yeah, and as a horse player, you don't ever want to get in a funk, but you definitely want to play this filly in the last 4 races. 3 runaway wins for this 3-year-old filly. She's in tremendous form. I like her back. The only loss of those last 4, it was not a very good trip. Plus, she was badly overmatched at a level much higher. Sean Davis, her trainers, had a phenomenal season. He was really good last year here, too. And the fact that he didn't run her for the 15, he's going to go ahead and use up that one other than condition in this spot. I thought that was a good sign because many of these are in for the 15. He's running for the allowance. So I think that's a good sign.
Yeah, I think it is, too. I'm going to go with another filly that's not in for a tag, and that's Azunia. This was a tough call for me. I mean, this was just a wide-open race in my eyes. Azunia actually faced Funk 2 starts ago and beat her, but Funk had a terrible start that day, and that just wasn't her thing. And Azunia was a 6-1 surprise winner that day. Followed that up against Open Company, $30,000 non-winners of 3, and was beaten pretty bad. Jan's turn to win, though, has just gotten incredibly good, and there's just no beating her, and I think that was a much tougher field than this. So I'm going to give Azunia an opportunity. She was really sharp earlier this meet as well. I'm a Sky Traveler. Is kind of an X factor to me. I mean, she's certainly got a lot of credentials, likes the track, likes to pick up checks. I don't know. I just figured. I think with Luis riding her, she might relax a little bit. I think, he gets fillies and horses to relax and finish well. That might be a nice opportunity.
Yeah, I think she'll go. I mean, I made her the favorite, obviously off consistency, a drop in class, and can rate a little bit and loves Lone Star Park. So I'm a Sky Traveler. I do believe it's the one to beat in here.
I have picked her before, though, and I can't get on the same wavelength with her, but doesn't mean that she can't win that race. Let's move on to the 5th. Texas-bred fillies. These are maiden claimers in for $7,500, and they're going 5.5 furlongs.
Yeah, the favorite, Glitz and Glamour. This is the type that generally I try to beat. Been running at the absolute bottom of the maiden claiming level for quite some time, and those types, sometimes they just lack a willingness to want to win. The safer play, generally speaking, is the 6, Much Aloha, who has not run since the 2-year-old year. So those are 2-year-old buyer figures you're looking at. No question she'll be faster now, bigger, stronger. She was running in maiden special weight races. She actually ran 4th in a stake after a terrible start. A series of, decent-looking workouts. I mean, the May 29th work was actually sharp, pretty good, 5/8 breezes since then. Calhoun's really good off the bench, 22% with a 6-month layoff. He's 33% winners with a very large sample when dropping into a maiden claimer for the first time. And this is legit, the absolute bottom of the maiden claiming ranks. Much Aloha. If she's doing good, I don't see why she wouldn't just run over the top of this field.
I agree. I researched her a little bit, not only when I handicapped this race, but she has either a half or a full that Asmussen, I think, trains. It's in tomorrow. That's out of the mare's signal path. So I was looking up the 2-year-old that's in tomorrow, and I came across her. Last year, she debuted with all kinds of fanfare. I mean, a maiden special weight race was even money. Was outfinished. Then she went in the Panzeretta, was 4-1. Terrible start, basically knocked over. Then went into an open maiden special. They were starting to get off her bandwagon, 6-1, and just, absolutely stopped. Yeah. And now she takes all this time off and comes back. So, I went ahead and took her, too. I think Glitz and Glamour, to me, she always runs just well enough to get bet the next time.
Right.
And runs just well enough to lose. Now, that, saying that, this may be her day, but...
there's not a lot of options in here.
Exactly.
I mean, I really felt like this was a 2-horse race, and I went the direction I will always go in a similar situation.
Yeah, you've got me going that direction too. The Calhoun off the bench or the Calhoun firster in that situation. On to the 6th. Now we begin our run of stakes. This is the Assault. These are Texas-bred 3-year-olds and up, and they're going a mile on the turf. And, it was just a few days ago that Sunlit Song scratched out of the Texas Turf Classic, a $300,000 race. And they chose apparently to run him in here, which
take what they thought was the layup, I guess. Yeah, this is the third race in a row I picked against the morning line favorite. I'm going with Singapore Flash over Sunlit Song. Sunlit Song's won 5 in a row. Loves this track. Is good on every track, but really is tough to beat here. Singapore Flash, who I did pick, has finished second multiple times behind Sunlit Song recently and finished in front of Sunlit Song twice last winter at Houston. My rationale is Sunlit Song, you and I were going to pick her last week in a $300,000 stake, and I thought he had every right to win, and they scratched. I'm thinking, okay, why do you scratch out of a 300 in favor of a 75,000? And then breezed on June 25th, 48, and man. For him, this horse works like a grade 1 horse every single time they lead him over. That 48, I don't know.
Still fourth best out of 68.
Yeah, he did not. Yeah, but to me it's visual. He didn't look as enthusiastic as he usually is. So you scratch, and you have kind of an unenthusiastic breeze. I'm thinking, man, maybe they scratch because he's 90%. He's had to be 100% in every matchup to beat Singapore Flash. So my point is Singapore Flash will be much better value. And I just got a feeling Sunlit Song might be a little bit vulnerable today. I could be totally wrong, and he win and pay, $4. I don't know. But this is the day, I think, to try to beat him.
Okay. I was curious to hear your rationale when I saw your pick earlier because, we are kind of Sunlit Song homers.
Oh, big time.
We all liked him. Maybe, I was speculating maybe they felt like, he just wasn't. I agree. Maybe they just felt he wasn't quite ready to take on those $300,000 stake horses, and they worked him on the day that he would have run, right? On Sunday, was Sunday the day we had, or was it Saturday we had all those races?
Yeah.
So he worked the next day.
Right.
So, and he was a trainer scratch, as I recall. He was not a vet scratch.
Right.
So, yeah, they obviously felt he wasn't ready to take on that bunch, but I think he can beat this bunch.
It didn't seem like
maybe even at 90%.
Extremely strong field. Otherwise, we probably would have picked a shipper. But both of us picked Sunlit Song because it didn't look like the race came up
you scratched into the winner.
Yeah, but nevertheless, I think the winner still ran in the mid-90 Buyers, so Sunlit Song could have won. But
it wasn't
we'll see.
A mind-boggling field, but it's a better field than this.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no question.
On to the 7th. This is the Valor Farm, fillies and mares. They're all older in this particular race. Scratch the 6, turn on the bling, and they're going 6 furlongs.
Yeah, and I'm a discreet late. Now, I made this one favorite. I'm not getting away from this one. This gray mare is what she used to be.
Yeah.
I really like this one. She's won 3 consecutive races on dirt, all stake races by widening margins. The chinks in her armor are the 2 races where she was beaten on grass during this 5-race streak. She was narrowly beaten in the Valor Farm last year here. 15 career wins. Every bit as good at 7 as she was at 6 and 5.
Yeah.
She's going to be tough to beat in here.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know how much it means, but 7 for 14 at 6 furlongs with 4 seconds and a third. Right in her element here, 6 furlongs on dirt. I took her over Tolanda, who's another one that likes to win.
Yep.
I took Tolanda second here, and, this is an interesting group of fillies and mares, but I'm a discreet lady, just to me, does tower.
Yeah, and Lady A, who some may like, off that gaudy win percentage, 18 for 38, but she seems to have lost that Midas touch.
A little bit.
Yeah, after winning just every time they brought her over, she's starting to show signs maybe of just getting older.
And she won a lot of races at the same basic level.
Yes.
She found a seam of competition she could beat consistently, and when they've raised her a little bit, she hasn't been quite as tough. The Fiesta Mile is race number 8, 1 mile on the turf, Texas-bred fillies and mares. And this one is interesting because I'm a Lucky Charm raced on our big stakes day a week ago today and didn't run at all. And, bring her back a week later. I took a flyer here on Jan's turn to win in this spot. I don't know if I'm nuts or what, but I just think Jan's turn to win is so good right now. Even with a 2-turn being a question mark, maybe she can stretch out and just say, I'm just going to run away from you. But,
yeah, I mean, you look at Tappa, you see Tiz now. I mean, he's in the pedigree. You assume she could go. I mean, we're only asking her to go a mile. It's an interesting pick.
Yeah, I went ahead and took her. I just,
Well, she's 4 for 4 at Lone Star Park. I mean, I can see what you like. A 3-race winning streak. I'm a Lucky Charm. The thing with her, when she's made the lead, she wins every time.
Yeah.
Last time in the Wasted Tears, she didn't, and she cratered.
I think they took her back and tried to get her to come from off the pace, and that's not her thing.
That's not what she wants to do.
No.
She doesn't pass horses very, very often. So I like you saw in the Wasted Tears, I thought, well, maybe she's a little vulnerable. I'm going to go with No Mas Tequila, who has been ran really well, been a disappointment, been a beaten favorite 4 races in a row. She won this race last year. She was extremely good last year, won 4 stake races. She's been close in every single start this year, a little bit of traffic trouble last time out. I think I may have said this last time when I picked her. She's going to win. She's going to fire a big race, and she ran 3rd with some trouble on the turn. Another chance.
Yeah. She tends to run the same race every time, but I'm a Lucky Charm wasn't coming back to her in 2 of those 3 races.
Right.
And then the Tipsy Gal race, I think Tipsy Gal just ran off and hid in that field. So, yeah, I mean, she kind of runs the same race every time. But, I pegged her for second behind. Jan's turn to win is coming back really, really fast.
Yep.
She raced on Sunday. And that was a pretty impressive race. And Broberg does well, obviously, with that angle.
He does.
She's so sharp. I'm going to take a shot. That's not a pick I usually make, stretching out from 5/8 of a mile to 8/8 of a mile, but I'm going to try it. Got to be a little flexible sometimes.
Right.
Now we get into some interesting races. I think this race is kind of tough. There's 4 Asmussens in this race. Texas Thoroughbred Association Futurity Colton Gelding Division, 5.5 furlongs. We're stretching these guys out now, 5.5 furlongs. Scratch the Mike Maker shipper, number 7, Son of a Ship, who I really didn't like all that much, but it was interesting having a Maker shipper entered in this race with Churchill form, but he's out. So
yeah, I like Strong Promise, and I like him a lot, actually. He debuts at Evangeline, wins by 10. The runner-up, Overpaid, comes back and wins, increases his buyer by 8. The 5th-place finisher comes back and wins. His buyer goes up by 22 points.
Yeah, the runner-up, Overpaid, came back here and won last week by 6.
Yeah.
And was claimed by Shane Wilson, who's a Louisiana-based trainer, who undoubtedly saw the Song Promise race and saw Overpaid and thought, I'm going to go get that one and bring it back here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wise strategy. They paid good money for this gray colt.
Yeah.
I looked at what the dam's thrown, St. Gina. Wow, a half to 5-time stake winner, Midnight Fantasy. I'm talking about Strong Promise and a half to Parish Bell, who in 5 starts, 2 wins, 3 seconds, and consistently runs in the 80s. I mean, so this is a really, early good start for the mare here, throwing runners.
Yeah.
So perfect post position, avoids traffic from out there. This colt might be pretty talented.
Yeah, and being outside and not being somebody that needs the lead, C.J. McMahon, I'm sure, can just find a good spot for him, and he's probably good enough if he runs back to just circle him.
Yes,
that's one you don't have to worry about. Oh, is he going to get inside? Is he going to do this? C.J. could probably keep him 3 or 4 wide and just
and the
whistle if he's as good as he was.
Oh,
before.
yeah, the extra furlong, just based on the debut, I mean, that's going to be perfect for this colt.
And this is another one, too. Not only does his race look good on paper, I went back and watched it, and, he never felt the whip. CJ at one point looked like he was maybe going to go left-handed, I think, because I think he circled way wide, and then he just started to kind of head toward the rail, and I don't think he ever hit him. I think he just sort of shook it at him. So, yeah, very impressive. True and Ready, before the last day that Vic was here, filling for me earlier in the meet, ran a super race. Stays on the fence, has a lot of speed. I think if anybody can threaten this promising Louisiana colt, it might be Asmussen's one horse. But
Victory for Vets. If you remember, I liked him off his debut, and he won by 7. And he came back June 17th and worked really good. So Victory for Vets
is a pretty good
a
field.
nice horse. I think the colts are really good today.
And he didn't get a good number, but Classic Rick, who you picked very astutely, beat Roughneck, who came back and ran well. And even though Classic Rick's Beyer was not very good, visually that was a really good program. He didn't do any running for about half that race. He did all his running on the back end. But, yeah, the Colton Gelding division's really strong.
It is.
On to the 10th. Filly division of this race, 5.5 furlongs. Scratch the 6, Too Much Dreaming, who I really like tomorrow. I think she's in a very winnable spot tomorrow and will be a short price. Also scratch the 10 and 11 out of this one.
Yeah, and like my children, Millie G's an Arkansas bred, and I really like that debut win. You can see it got a really strong buyer figure for Austin Gustafson. Went off at 13-1. It got by me. I knew it'd get by you because all he had was 3/8 works. It's better than Caldwell's quarter mile breezes, though.
That is true. I mean, I will give him credit for that. That day I think I picked clearly Copper, the runner-up. I think. Or I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I know I didn't pick
her,
this one though. They,
all
she
those
ran really slow 3/8 breezes, but ran very fast, and again draws a pretty favorable post out there. The sire, Gentleman's Bet, was very fast himself. I'm just going to take this one back.
I went ahead and I'm going to take a little. I don't know if it's a shot. But I'm taking another romping winner. I'm a little bit of a sucker for romping winners. We're taking the Louisiana Colt in the first race, or in the first of the 2-year-old races. I'm taking Divining Humor for Jade Gellner. This filly debuted and just throttled them 11 3/4 lengths. I mean, if Fuentes had really wanted to push her, I mean, she could have won by 20. I mean, that was a very, very easy performance. The question is, if you win and this is kind of for this colt that is in the previous race, if you win your debut against a questionable bunch so easily, are you prepped to face a field that features some nice previous race winners? Like Too Much Kiki was a nice winner, even though her buyer wasn't that much. Millie G was a good debut winner, etc. I don't know. That's a question we'll have to find out in a few hours, whether that sort of easy performance really preps you for a rough and tumble race against, a bunch of others or not. But Divining Humor's race was really good. The fig was okay, not great. But I'm going to look for her to maybe to improve a little off that. She's had some decent work since, so I'm going to take Divining Humor in this spot. I'm curious to see if this clearly Copper, who is by Copper Bullet, who I wasn't real familiar with, but he was a Steve Asmussen runner, and we had the first Copper Bullet offspring to win a race recently, about a couple weeks ago. They sent out a press release on it, the people that own Copper Bullet.
It's probably that Copper Can, who finished behind Divining Humor.
I believe it was.
Yeah, that was a slow winner there, Copper Can.
41, that's really slow.
He improved, but that must have been a slow bunch.
It must have been. Copper Bullet, or Copper Can, was the first winner sired by Copper Bullet. It was a nice sprinter for Steve, but didn't have a very long career.
No.
I wasn't familiar with him, so I looked him up. 11th and final. I see this as a 2-filly race. Well, I saw it as a 2-filly race, and then one of my fillies got scratched, the 7 Glorio. I was picking Oil and Candy. You're going with a long shot from the outside here, going a mile on turf. These are straight maidens. That's a tough draw for your firster, but they paid a lot of money for her, so we'll see.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I mean, you can't hit the Super I-5 by yourself picking Oil and Candy.
That's true. I'm not sure you can cash a win bet picking Oil and Candy,
but anyway.
But I took her, and I'm not proud of it, but
she's the one to beat. But like the horse I had that I picked early on the card, I mean, she's been beating at even money, 7-5, 3-5, and 9-5.
Well, yeah,
so,
I mean, I got my money burner symbol next to her for a reason.
Yeah,
but
I had my money burner earlier in the card, but hopefully maybe we can both get one. But, blame the stars. I'll just get to it. They paid a lot of money. I noted that the sire Blame, 3 of his top 5 money earners as a sire are turf runners. I thought that was good. Everybody knows on the bottom, Galileo, this Ireland bred. Definitely turf on the back side or bottom side of it. The work that got me was the gate work, June 17th, in company, just totally walked away from that horse on the turn. I mean, it was a really good work, a deceptively good work. Best in company June 10th, 5/8 of a mile the work before that. So much turf, so much, route in the pedigree. And I thought, man, the horses that are going to take the money, I'm not sure they want to win. Shannon Ritter has not run many horses this meet at all, but Highlander, they paid good money for this horse.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and go for the gusto here. 15-1.
Yeah. 100. The case you make for her, she might dip a little under that 15-1.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, maybe.
$120,000 yearling was Blame the Stars. Yeah, I fell for Oil and Candy. I mean, this filly just the thing that worries me a little bit now is I thought Glorio had a really good wire-to-wire chance.
Right.
Now, I don't know what's going to happen pace-wise in this race. Mm-hmm. So, I'm hoping Elliott is able to get Oil and Candy in a good forward spot.
Yeah, she's got enough speed. She should get an absolute perfect trip.
Yeah, we'll see if that's enough.
Yeah, like she's had in 4 other tries.
At heavy odds that she's probably going to repeat. Who knows how short she'll be today with that Glorio out. Would have taken a little money away from her.
Yeah, it would have been. Unless Blame the Stars gets knocked way down for some reason.
That's true. Folks in Canada listening to you saying,
yeah,
here's your workout guy.
Yeah, here's your workout horse.
All right. Well, it's turning into a really nice day. It's about 90 and cloudy.
Yeah, it feels good out here.
Yeah, it does. Fast and firm. Lots of big races today. Lots of good Texas spreads on display. Thanks for joining us. Rick and I will be back to offer our analysis tomorrow as well. Good luck on this Saturday.
It's go, 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 go time. Tick, tick, boom. We're bringing the noise. Go, baby, we bringing our toys. Separate men from the boys. Chopper be singing, should be on the voice. Bang, bang, we gon' ride out. Gang, gang, we don't die out. Want it like this, ain't no timeouts. Tell me who really can find out. Rowdy. We get rowdy, rowdy. Rowdy. We get rowdy, rowdy. We be disturbing the peace. Working, we serving the streets. About to go ahead, going beast. Bang, bang, leave you sleep. Tick, tick, boom. You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? We be disturbing the peace. Working, we serving the streets. About to go ahead, going beast. Bang, bang, leave you sleep. It's go, 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 go time. Tick, tick, boom. You ready? Let's go. Yeah. For those of you that want to know what we're all about, it's like this, y'all. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, 100% reason to remember the name. Mike. He doesn't need his name up in lights, he just wants to be heard, whether it's the beat of the mic. He feels so unlike everybody else, alone, in spite of the fact that some people still think that they know, but no, he knows the code. It's not about the salary, it's all about reality and making some noise, making a story, making sure his click stays up. That means when he puts it down, Tops picking it up. Who the hell is he anyway? He never really talks much, never concerned with status, but still leaving him starstruck. Humble through opportunities given despite the fact that many misjudge him because he makes a living from writing raps. Put it together.
Hey you, yeah you, sitting and watching the races. Where's your swag? You don't got none. How can you even call yourself a true fan without the genuine article, Lone Star Park Swag? I don't think so. Why don't you go mosey on down to the corral on the first floor? They got